They all said it was impossible. A single, tiny sparrow against the fury of nature. No chance. But what they didn't know was that this wasn't just any sparrow. This was a story of a spirit that refused to be broken, a tale of how one small bird proved them all wrong. Our story begins in a lush, green valley, home to a bustling community of sparrows. Life was simple, filled with the cheerful chirping of families and the rustle of leaves in the gentle breeze. Among them was Pip, a young sparrow, full of energy and optimism. He had just finished building his very first nest. A cozy little home woven with twigs and soft moss, nestled securely in the crook of an old oak tree. He was proud, content, and ready to start his own family. But the sky, as it often does, had other plans. Dark clouds began to gather on the horizon, rolling in like an angry grey ocean. The wind, once a gentle whisper, began to howl with a menacing voice. The monsoon had arrived, and it was fiercer than any the sparrows had ever seen. Rain fell not in drops, but in relentless sheets, and the wind tore through the trees with unimaginable force. Pip clung to his branch, his heart pounding against his tiny ribs as he watched his perfect nest, his home, get shredded by the storm. Twig by twig, it was ripped apart and scattered by the gale. By the time the sun rose the next morning, a devastating silence had fallen over the valley. The storm had passed, but it had taken almost everything with it. Nests were gone. The community was scattered, demoralized, and heartbroken. Many of the older, more experienced sparrows shook their heads in despair. "It's no use," one chirped sadly. "The storms are too strong this year. We must move on, find a more sheltered valley." The sentiment rippled through the survivors. It seemed the easiest path, the only logical one. Why fight a battle you are destined to lose? But Pip, looking at the wreckage of his dreams, felt a spark of defiance. This was his home. He wouldn't just abandon it, so, with renewed determination, he set to work again. He gathered new twigs, stronger ones this time, and found thicker strands of moss. He worked tirelessly from dawn till dusk, rebuilding his nest in the very same spot. It was even better than the first. But his hope was short-lived. A few days later, another storm, just as vicious as the first, tore through the valley, and once again his nest was destroyed. This time the despair was almost overwhelming. He was exhausted, his small body aching from the effort. He watched the other sparrows begin to leave, one by one, their sad chirps fading into the distance. It seemed they were right. It was impossible. He felt weak, insignificant, against the raw power of the monsoon. He was on the verge of giving up, of admitting defeat and following the others. But as he sat there, shivering on the bare branch, something shifted inside him. He stopped looking at the destruction and started truly observing the storm. He wasn't just seeing the wind. He was watching it. He noticed how it flowed around the big rocks, how it bent the strongest branches but broke the rigid, brittle ones. He saw how the gusts came in predictable patterns, swirling through certain gaps in the trees. It wasn't just random chaos. There was a science to it, a rhythm. This was his turning point. This was his realization. He couldn't stop the storm, but maybe he could work asterisk with asterisk it. Instead of fighting the wind, he could use his knowledge of its patterns to his advantage. He wasn't weak. He just needed to be smarter. So, Pip began his third attempt, but this time, it was different. He didn't rebuild in the same exposed spot. He chose a new location, one sheltered behind a thick, unyielding trunk of the ancient oak, a place where the wind was forced to split and weaken. He didn't just weave twigs together. He learned to anchor them deep into the bark of the tree. He observed the way spiders built their webs. using intricate knots and anchor points to withstand incredible forces, and he mimicked them. He lined his nest not just with soft moss, but with mud, which would dry and harden like a tiny ceramic bowl, reinforcing the entire structure. His new nest looked different, less delicate, more robust, but it was a fortress. When the next storm came, Pip didn't hide. He watched from a safe distance as the wind howled and the rain poured down. He saw the branches around his nest bend and sway, but his home, his fortress, held firm. It stood strong against the monsoon's fury. The few sparrows who had lingered, too scared to leave but too hopeless to rebuild, watched in astonishment. They saw Pip's success. His resilience had ignited a flicker of hope in their own hearts. One by one, they flew over to him. Pip didn't hoard his knowledge. He shared everything he had learned. He taught them how to read the wind, how to choose the right location, how to reinforce their nests with mud and clever weaving techniques. Slowly but surely, the valley began to change. Where there was once just scattered debris, a new kind of settlement began to rise. It wasn't just a collection of individual nests anymore. It was a community, working together. They built their nests in clusters, providing mutual support and protection from the wind. They created a network of interconnected homes, a veritable Sparrow City, built on the principles of adaptation and collaboration. They had turned the storm from an enemy into a teacher. The moral of Pip's story is a powerful one. The challenges we face, the storms that threaten to tear our lives apart, are often opportunities in disguise. They push us to grow, to adapt, and to learn in ways we never thought possible. Instead of giving up when things get tough, we can, like Pip, observe, learn, and build ourselves back stronger than before. And just as importantly, when we find a way to weather our own storms, we can inspire and help others to do the same. What storm have you faced in your life that made you stronger? Share your story of overcoming adversity in the comments below. We can all learn from each other. Thank you so much for watching. If you enjoyed this little tale of resilience, please hit that like button. And don't forget to subscribe and turn on notifications for more motivational animal tales. See you next time.